The Galactic Council's decision. In the heart of the Zephyr Empire, Emperor Zorgan sat upon his crystalline throne, his 4 eyes surveying the gathered members of the Galactic Council. The alabaster chamber pulsed with a soft amber glow, the light catching the iridescent scales and shimmering robes of the various alien dignitaries. Esteemed council members, Zorgan began, his deep voice resonating through the room. I have summoned you here to discuss a matter of great importance. Our scouts have identified a prime candidate for our next conquest, a small blue world called Earth. A holographic display flickered to life in the center of the chamber, showcasing the slowly rotating image of Earth. Streams of data flowed around the projection, detailing everything from the planet's atmospheric composition to its dominant life forms. As you can see, Zorgan continued, gesturing to the display with a clawed hand, the humans of Earth are a primitive species. They have barely begun to explore their own solar system, and their technology is laughably outdated compared to our own. They will be no match for the might of the Zephyr Empire. Murmurs of approval rippled through the council. Many had grown restless in the centuries since their last conquest, yearning for the thrill of new plunder and the glory of expanding their empire's reach. Admiral Zyloth, the Empire's most decorated military leader, stepped forward. His crimson scales gleamed beneath his jet-black armor, the stars of conquest glittering on his broad chest. Your Imperial Majesty, Zyloth said, bowing his crested head, I have already begun preparations for the invasion. Our quantum disruptors and dark matter cannons will make short work of any resistance the humans might offer. We can have the planet under our control within a matter of days. Emperor Zorgan leaned back in his throne, a pleased smile spreading across his angular face. Excellent. Admiral, and what of their resources? What can Earth offer to fuel our empire's expansion? A slender, green-skinned figure glided forward, her gossamer robes trailing behind her. Minister Vala, head of the Empire's Resource Acquisition Division, bowed deeply before the Emperor. Earth is rich in rare minerals and biological resources, Your Majesty, she said, her voice like a whisper on the wind. Our preliminary scans indicate vast deposits of platinum, gold, and palladium, as well as unique plant and animal species that could greatly advance our genetic engineering programs. Zorgan nodded, his eyes gleaming with avarice. Then it is settled. Admiral Zyloth, you will lead the invasion fleet to Earth, crush any resistance, and secure the planet for the glory of the Zephyr Empire. As the council members dispersed, eagerly discussing the coming conquest, none suspected that high above the galactic core, a mysterious object drifted silently through space. Its matte black surface absorbed all light, rendering it invisible to even the most advanced sensors. Deep within this cloaked sentinel, Dr. Lyanna Voss watched the Council's proceedings with a mixture of disgust and determination. As humanity's secret guardian among the stars, she had spent decades preparing for this moment, the day when Earth would be forced to reveal its true strength and stand against the galactic tyranny of the Zephyr Empire. With a flick of her wrist, Dr. Voss activated Earth's hidden quantum communication network. Attention all Earth Defense Forces, she said, her voice calm and resolute. The time has come. Initiate Operation Starhammer. Let's show these would-be conquerors what humanity is truly capable of. As the transmission ended, a fierce smile played across Dr. Voss's lips. The Zephyr Empire believed they were launching a simple invasion. Little did they know, they were about to face a fight for their very survival, a fight they had no hope of winning. Earth's secret defenses. In a hidden facility deep beneath the Earth's surface, Dr. Lyanna Voss strode into the command center, her footsteps echoing on the polished metallic floor. Around her, holographic displays flickered to life, casting an ethereal blue glow across the faces of the gathered personnel. Status report, Dr. Voss demanded, her gaze sweeping over the room. Commander Zara Riker, a tall, athletic woman with cropped auburn hair, snapped to attention. All planetary defense systems are online and ready. Dr. Voss. The quantum stealth network is fully operational, and our dark matter weapons are primed and charged. Dr. Voss nodded, a sense of pride swelling in her chest. For decades, she had overseen the development of Earth's covert defense technologies, always knowing that one day they would be called upon to defend humanity's home against the galactic threats that lurked among the stars. "And what of our fleet?" she asked, turning to face a wiry, bespectacled man hunched over a glowing console. Dr. Soren Lux, Earth's leading expert on advanced propulsion systems, looked up with a grin. "The Shadowhawk cruisers are prepped and ready, Dr. Voss. Their phantom drives will allow them to strike from anywhere in the system without being detected." Dr. Voss allowed herself a small smile. The Shadowhawk cruisers were the crown jewel of Earth's secret space fleet, sleek, deadly vessels equipped with the most advanced stealth and weapons technologies humanity had ever developed. As she surveyed the bustling command center, Dr. Voss couldn't help but marvel at how far they had come. When she first discovered the existence of the Galactic Council and their imperial ambitions, Earth had been vulnerable, its people blissfully unaware of the dangers that lurked beyond their solar system. But Dr. Voss had vowed to change that. With the help of a hand-picked team of brilliant scientists and engineers, she had spearheaded the development of Earth's secret defense program, pouring trillions of dollars into research and development while maintaining an impenetrable veil of secrecy. Now, as the Zephyr Empire's invasion fleet hurtled towards Earth, Dr. Voss knew that all their hard work was about to be put to the test. But she also knew that humanity was ready. They had the technology, the resolve, and the courage to stand against any foe, no matter how powerful. "All right, people," Dr. Voss said, her voice ringing out across the command center. "This is what we've been preparing for. The Zephyr Empire thinks they're invading a primitive, defenseless world. Let's show them just how wrong they are. For Earth." A chorus of cheers erupted from the gathered personnel, their faces alight with determination and resolve. As Dr. Voss took her seat at the central command console, she felt a surge of adrenaline coursing through her veins. The battle for Earth's future was about to begin, and she would be damned if she let humanity fall. The Zephyr Empire attacks. The Zephyr Empire's invasion fleet emerged from hyperspace on the outskirts of Earth's solar system, a gleaming armada of crystal and metal. At the heart of the fleet, the massive dreadnought Eternal Conquest hung in the void like a predatory bird, its sleek lines and glowing ion engines a testament to the Empire's technological might. On the dreadnought's bridge, Admiral Zyloff stood before a vast holographic display, his crimson scales gleaming in the flickering light. "Status report," he barked, his eyes narrowing as he surveyed the readouts. "All systems nominal, Admiral," responded a young Zephyr officer, his clawed fingers dancing across a glowing control panel. "Weapons charged and ready, shields at maximum strength. We are ready to commence the invasion on your order." Admiral Zyloff allowed himself a small predatory smile. For centuries, the Zephyr Empire had conquered countless worlds, their advanced technologies and ruthless tactics overwhelming all who stood in their path. Earth, with its primitive defenses and fractured governments, would be no different. "Commence the attack," Zyloff ordered, his deep voice echoing through the bridge. "Target their major cities and military installations. I want this planet under our control within the hour." As the Zephyr fleet surged forward, their weapon systems locking onto targets across the Earth's surface, a strange sensation washed over the bridge. The holographic displays flickered and wavered, static distorting the crisp, clear images. "What's happening?" Zyloff demanded, his eyes narrowing in suspicion. Before anyone could respond, a series of massive explosions rocked the fleet, the force of the blasts sending Zephyr ships careening off course. Admiral Zyloff staggered, his claws digging into the command console for support. "Report," he roared, his voice tinged with equal parts anger and disbelief. "We're under attack, sir," cried a terrified officer, his scales pale with shock. "Some kind of advanced weapon system, like nothing we've ever seen before. Our shields are useless against them." Another blast rocked the Eternal Conquest, sparks showering the bridge as consoles overloaded and exploded. Admiral Zoloth watched in horror as a third of his fleet vanished in a blinding flash of white light, reduced to nothing more than drifting clouds of molten debris. "Impossible," he whispered, his eyes wide with shock. How could the humans possess such advanced technology? As if in answer to his question, a fleet of sleek, black ships suddenly shimmered into existence around the Zephyr Armada, their matte surfaces seeming to absorb the very light around them. The Shadowhawk cruisers had arrived, and they wasted no time in unleashing a barrage of dark matter torpedoes and quantum disruptor beams on the reeling Zephyr ships. On the bridge of the Eternal Conquest, Admiral Zoloth could only watch in stunned disbelief as his once mighty fleet was systematically dismantled by Earth's secret defenses. The humans, whom he had dismissed as primitive and weak, were revealing themselves to be a foe far more formidable than he ever could have imagined. As another volley of dark matter torpedoes slammed into the dreadnought's hull, sending gouts of flame and debris spiraling into the void, Zoloth realized the terrible truth. The Zephyr Empire, for all its advanced technology and military might, had gravely underestimated the humans. And now, as Earth's defenders pressed their attack, it seemed that the Empire's very survival hung in the balance, turning the tide. In the chaos of the Shadowhawk cruiser's onslaught, Emperor Zorgan stared at the holographic displays in disbelief. The Zephyr fleet, the pride of his empire, was being torn apart before his very eyes. The humans, whom he had dismissed as little more than primitive savages, were wielding technologies far beyond anything the Zephyr Empire had ever encountered. "This cannot be happening," Zorgan muttered, his clawed hands clenching into fists. "We are the Zephyr Empire, the mightiest civilization in the galaxy. How can these humans possess such power?" As another Zephyr dreadnought exploded in a blinding flash of light, its shattered hull spinning away into the void, Emperor Zorgan's disbelief gave way to a simmering rage. He slammed his fist down on the console, the force of the blow sending cracks spiderwebbing across the crystalline surface. "Admiral Zoloth," he roared, his eyes blazing with fury, "withdraw our forces, regroup at the edge of the system, and prepare for a counterattack." But as the battered remnants of the Zephyr fleet limped away from Earth, pursued by the relentless Shadowhawk cruisers, it became clear that there would be no counterattack. The humans had not only repelled the invasion, but they had done so with a level of technological superiority that defied belief. Back on Earth, in the hidden command center, Dr. Lyanna Voss watched the Zephyr retreat with a grim sense of satisfaction. She turned to her gathered staff, her eyes alight with determination. "We've won the battle," she said, her voice ringing out across the room. "But the war is far from over. The Zephyr Empire now knows the truth about Earth's capabilities. We must be prepared for their response." Commander Zora Riker stepped forward, her auburn hair gleaming in the holographic light. "Dr. Voss, perhaps it's time we revealed the truth to the rest of the galaxy. If other civilizations knew what Earth was capable of, they might think twice about challenging us." Dr. Voss nodded slowly, considering the idea. "You may be right, Commander, but we must be careful. We don't want to be seen as aggressors, only as defenders of our world and our way of life." As the command staff began to plan their next moves, Earth's secret fleet of Shadowhawk cruisers pressed their advantage. They struck at Zephyr outposts and supply lines across the sector, their phantom drives allowing them to appear and disappear at will, leaving only destruction in their wake. The once mighty Zephyr Empire found itself on the defensive, its forces scrambling to protect their holdings against an enemy that seemed to be everywhere and nowhere at once. And as word of Earth's victory spread throughout the galaxy, other civilizations began to take notice, whispers of a new power rising from the depths of space. Emperor Zorgan, his fury now tempered by a growing sense of desperation, summoned his council once more. "We must find a way to counter these humans," he growled, his eyes darting from one advisor to the next. "Our very survival depends on it." But as the council members began to argue and bicker, proposing ever more desperate schemes, a terrible realization began to dawn on Emperor Zorgan. The Zephyr Empire, for all its might and all its advanced technology, had finally met its match. And as he sat upon his crystalline throne, the weight of his failure pressing down upon him like a mountain, he knew that the days of his empire's dominance were numbered. A new galactic era. As the Zephyr Empire's forces retreated to their home systems, licking their wounds and struggling to come to terms with their devastating defeat, Dr. Liana Voss stood before the United Nations General Assembly. The cavernous hall was packed with representatives from every corner of the globe, their faces a mix of awe, disbelief, and grim determination. For decades, Earth has been preparing for the day when we would be forced to defend ourselves against an extraterrestrial threat. Dr. Voss began, her voice ringing out clear and strong. That day has come, and I am proud to say that we have emerged victorious. A murmur of approval swept through the assembly, the representatives nodding and whispering among themselves. Dr. Voss waited for the room to settle before continuing. But our victory is not just a triumph for Earth, but for all the civilizations of the galaxy who have suffered under the Zephyr Empire's tyrannical rule. It is time for us to step out of the shadows and take our place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as defenders of peace and freedom. As Dr. Voss outlined her vision for a new galactic order, one based on cooperation and mutual respect, rather than conquest and subjugation, the assembly erupted in a standing ovation. The representatives of Earth, once divided by petty squabbles and ancient rivalries, now stood united in the face of a common enemy and a shared destiny. In the weeks and months that followed, Earth's Shadowhawk cruisers became a familiar sight throughout the galaxy, their sleek black hulls emblazoned with the symbols of the newly formed Earth Defense Alliance. They patrolled trade routes and protected the weak, earning the gratitude and respect of countless civilizations. As for the Zephyr Empire, they soon found themselves facing a growing rebellion from within their own ranks. Inspired by Earth's example, long-oppressed species and subjugated worlds began to rise up against their Zephyr overlords, demanding freedom and self-determination. Emperor Zorgan, his once mighty empire crumbling around him, had no choice but to sue for peace. In a historic meeting aboard an Earth Shadowhawk cruiser, he signed the Treaty of Galloc, formally recognizing Earth's sovereignty and agreeing to dismantle the Zephyr Empire's oppressive regime. As the treaty was broadcast across the galaxy, Dr. Voss stood on the bridge of the cruiser, watching as the stars streamed past the viewports. She thought of all the sacrifices that had been made, all the lives that had been lost in the long struggle to keep Earth safe. But she also thought of the future, of the countless possibilities that now lay ahead. With Earth taking its rightful place among the stars, a new era of exploration, discovery, and cooperation was dawning. And as she looked out at the infinite expanse of space, Dr. Voss knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, humanity would face them together, united in their determination to build a better tomorrow for all the civilizations of the galaxy. As the Earth Defense Alliance flag unfurled on the cruiser's hull, its blue and green colors shimmering in the starlight, a cheer went up from the crew. It was a moment that would be remembered for generations to come, the moment when Earth stepped out of the shadows and into the light, ready to take on whatever the universe had in store. And as Dr. Voss smiled, her heart swelling with pride and hope, she knew that the journey was just beginning. There were new worlds to explore, new civilizations to meet, and new wonders to discover. But no matter what lay ahead, one thing was certain. Earth would never again be the same. It had become something more, something greater, a beacon of hope, and a force for good in a galaxy that had for too long been ruled by fear and oppression. With a nod to her crew, Dr. Voss gave the order to set course for the stars, and as the Shadowhawk cruiser leaped forward into the unknown, she knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, Earth would face them head-on, united in their determination to build a brighter future for all.